Hi guys, I'm Ahana and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing how you can hire your first employee. If that sounds good to you, then keep on watching. Hiring can be one of the most time-consuming and difficult parts of your job as a founder. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing how you can hire your first employee in just 10 steps. Let's jump in. Step number 1. Figure out when to make that first hire. I'm of the belief that, especially in the early days of your company, you should be able to do all of the different jobs. You don't necessarily need to be an expert in them. But the reason I think it's important that you've actually done everything that there is to be done yourself is that when it does come to hiring, 1, it makes you a more empathetic leader or manager, and 2, you actually have a deep understanding of what you're looking for because you've done it yourself. For us, the right time to hire was once we ourselves had basically done everything there was to do. And the biggest constraint was just manpower and hours. It wasn't that we'd run out of ideas or we were missing specific skills on the founding team. Of course, this will be different for different companies. We did have a founding team in place. We were both technical founders, so we didn't have to hire a software developer straight away. Obviously, if there is no chance you're going anywhere near code, I understand that, of course, that's a different situation. But equally, in that situation, it would really benefit you as the person looking to make that hire if you did have at least a basic understanding of what would be required for the job. So you figured out when you want to make your hire. The second step is to figure out the legal, financial, and compliance details on how you're going to make this hire. On the financial side, you're going to need to figure out how much you can afford to spend on this hire, whether their compensation will be a combination of equity and cash, and how making this hire affects your company's lifetime and runway. So model your finances for the different scenarios. It's important that you set realistic expectations. If this is the salary range I'm able to offer, this is likely the candidate pool that I'm opening myself up to. On the legal and compliance side, it's also important that you establish this before you start looking for candidates, as oftentimes the legal and compliance will affect who you're able to hire. For a lot of companies, they only hire in the country that they're incorporated in, for which they already understand the taxation, both on the company and on the individual. In our case, we use a platform called Deal, which actually allows us to hire internationally. Understanding that we can use this software to hire in a legally sound and compliant manner actually opens up our talent pool and means that in the job description, we don't just have to seek out people who are in a given geography. And the other reason it's important to consider taxes is because that will also affect your company's financials. There can be a lot of complications and hidden costs that you don't realize when you're hiring someone. And it's really important that you're aware of all of them before you plunge into the process. Step number 3 is figuring out who you want to hire, and not just in terms of their hard skills. So for example, hard skills might be they need to be proficient in Python or Rust, or they need to have had social media marketing experience and understand how TikTok works. You need to think about the whole package. Are you a remote company? If so, you're going to need people who are quite intrinsically motivated. Are you working in a really fast-paced industry? Do you need someone that's going to be able to drop everything and be available if something big happens or something goes wrong? Are you a very mission-driven company? Do you want someone that aligns with your values and your mission as a company? All of these are actually really important considerations to make, as once you start hiring people onto the team, of course the competencies matter, and there'll be more on that in a minute, but you also start to define your company culture. It's definitely something to be mindful of, especially as you grow and scale your company. Okay, so now step number 4. You've identified who you're looking for. Now you need to figure out where you're going to find them. The lowest effort option would be to find an agency, but that costs money, and chances are if you're an early stage startup, you probably don't want to spend money on things that you don't have to. In our case, the first hire we needed to make was a Rust developer. Rust is a type of programming language. Well, where do people who are into Rust look for jobs? There's a huge forum on Reddit, and there's a This Week in Rust newsletter. And those were probably the best places that we could put a job posting out. And that's what we did. We posted on the Rust Reddit forum, and we tweeted This Week in Rust, and they shared our job posting out with the Rust community. And from there, it was actually pretty easy to find a bunch of really high quality candidates. The places that you're looking for people will vary depending on the role itself. But this is a perfect example of being an early stage startup founder in which you have to be a little bit crafty, and you have to really think about the problem you're solving and think, where can I find the type of person that I'm looking for? The 5th step is to conduct fit and competency interviews with the candidates that you find. The reason I think it's so important to do both is on the competency side. If you're a small company or a small team, having a slacker can really make things very difficult. In bigger companies, you can still kind of get away with having some people who don't really care or aren't very committed, and it's fine, the company is going to survive. With a startup, when you're so small and resources are so tight, that's not always the case. If someone is a real drain on resources without creating much output, then that can severely affect the trajectory of said company. So you want to make sure that the person you're hiring for the job does have those core competencies and are able to deliver on their responsibilities. And similarly, on the fit side, one of the main reasons that startups fail is due to team conflicts. And that's why it's all the more important that the person you're bringing onto the team is a good fit for the team. It's not just about finding someone who's good at their job. You have to like them as well, because you're going to be spending a lot of time with this person, especially if they're an early employee. They're likely going to get equity in your company. And you want to give that to someone who you actually want to work with. Generally, if you get a bad feeling about someone, it's probably worth trusting and avoiding that candidate, even if it is just a gut feeling. Step number 6, and this is along the same vein, but I just want to make it very explicit, have this candidate interviewed by multiple team members if there are multiple team members. Given that fit is so important, it's not just your opinion of them that matters. It matters how they fit in with the broader team. It's good to get multiple opinions on the person that you're bringing on. Step number 7 is to make the offer and be agile. Regarding the offer, explain the terms very, very clearly and provide a professional offer letter. You can find so many templates of this online. On the agile point, the reason I'm stressing this is because high quality candidates are likely going to be pursued by other companies or interviewing for other roles. If you've gone through all of this effort, you found someone that's the right fit and is going to help get your company to the next phase of its growth, you want to close that candidate. Being a startup, you might not be able to offer a higher salary or compete on the compensation. So you need to sell yourself on the job and the team. It's important to remember that one of the best things about a startup is the amount of freedom and responsibility and impact a person feels like they're having. If they just wanted a high salary, they probably wouldn't be applying to a startup in the first place. Give them a sense of your company culture. Give them a sense of the responsibility that they're going to get when they join the team. Trust that job satisfaction matters to people. People want to feel like they're making an impact. And if you can show them they're going to be part of that journey and you're available to answer their questions and you're very responsive, that creates a fantastic impression of you as the employer. And even if that candidate is offered a job that might have better terms on paper, sometimes it gives you the edge that's needed to actually close that candidate. The 8th step is, when making the offer, provide a probationary period. This is really just to hedge your risks in case you have made a mistake with the hire. The benefit of a probation period also means that after however long that period is, it might be a month or 2 months, it forces you to have a chat with the new hire about how things are going. As I know it can be really hard, especially as a first-time employer, to have open and honest conversations with your employees, especially if the feedback's not always positive. Step number 9 is to ensure any stock compensation that you've offered your new hire is on a vesting schedule. Most early stage companies will go with a 4-year vesting period with a 1-year cliff. What that means is none of the shares allocated to that person are vested until the first year, and after exactly 12 months, that employee now owns 25% of all of the shares that have been allocated, and from then for the next 36 months on a month-by-month basis, the rest of that employee's shares are vested. So let's walk through an example under this 4-year vesting period with a 1-year cliff. You hire an employee and you allocate them 100 shares under this vesting schedule. If that employee leaves after 11 months, they get 0 shares, because they haven't yet reached the cliff period. If they leave after 12 months, then they leave with 25%, or 25 shares in this case. And if they stay for 2 years, then they have 50% of their shares, or 50 shares in this example. And to fully vest all of their shares, they would have to stay at the company for the full 4-year period. And the 10th step is to keep giving the new hire regular feedback and having open conversations. And this doesn't just go for the first hire, this goes for every team member, it goes for founding teams. It's so important that there is transparency when people are working together, and especially for some of those harder conversations to have if people are underperforming. It's so important that problems are aired out in the open, as if they aren't, they can fester, they can create quite negative company environments. And your main focus as a founder is to just build your company. You'll certainly be able to save yourself a lot of problems down the line if you're just honest with everyone from day one. And that's it. Once you made that hire, you can keep on building and they can build for you too. I hope this video was helpful for those of you who are now at the exciting time of growing your company. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content just like this, please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. Alright, that's all for this one. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.